What's up guys, it's Bossy here coming at you with another Gundam War deck profile, and this time I will show you my brown deck. Let's take a look at it. Okay, so I got this cool little play mat, and I am super happy with this. It's kind of like very soft textile, but it's really cool. It's for the Japanese version of the game, but obviously works perfectly for the English release as well. So let's start with, I love this brown deck by the way. Let's start with Three Mighty Fella. Just such a good card. It comes down first turn, doesn't cost you anything. It's a 1/0/1. It's perfect for chump blocking in future turns. Basically, um, as a support card, it can also come out as well as, you can play a unit and you can play a support card. And when you play it, you look at the top 10 cards of your deck, you pick a generation card. It has to be a basic brown generation card, but nevertheless, this is a mono brown deck. Put it in your hand, shuffle your deck. Excellent stuff, particularly in a game where if you get, quite often people get generation um, starved. So starting with Mighty Fella is always already a good start. And that makes, in my opinion, brown is actually an underrated color because it can be very consistent. We got 3 copies of WOD. This is the set 1 WOD. Comes down with quick, and it can be, when it comes into play, it comes into play in reroll status. Again, it doesn't cost you anything. You can play with 1 generation out in play. This is the second perfect jump blocker that you just put down during your opponent's turn. Um, it comes down obviously in reroll, so you can immediately block with this guy, which just makes it absolutely brilliant again. Um, really just trying to get some, we're trying to like be awkward in the first few turns, get to like turn 4, turn 5 when we can start to drop some of our big hitters, and that's what we will try to do to go for game with. We got 2 copies of John's Bojarnon. Um, this is our turn 2 play. Ideally, it's a 1/1/2. We probably want to use this a little bit more for support for its shooting units. Also, when a character card is set on this card and it goes to any of the battle areas, it gets +0, +1, +0 until the end of the turn. So it will be a 1/2/2 with a character on it. We do have a character, of course, that we want to run on this Borjarno, which is actually a Zaku. Okay, we got 3 copies of Godwin. It's another nice little early game play. You can play it with 2 generations down. It's a 2/1/1. And when a character card is set on this unit, reroll this card. In addition, this card gets +2, +0, +0 until the end of the turn. So it's a really good little rush unit that we play out. Brown actually has a few of these cards that is capable of getting in some really big damage, but it only has very little life. Now we like this. I kind of like this sort of tempo kind of play. If they don't block it, then of course, well, I'm happy to I'm happy for them to probably take 5 damage, assuming one of the characters is a 1/1/1. And if they block it, it probably takes out a unit if you play your cards right. So it's still good, and it's cheap, so it doesn't really matter. We run 2 copies of Armir. This is a battleship. So again, you can drop it as well as dropping one of your unit cards. It's a bit expensive, but it has quick. So again, very importantly, we can play during our opponent's turn. And again, it comes into play in reroll status. So it does some familiar effects, something that obviously our WAD does as well. But we really want to use this guy for is that supply effect. Just with the quick, this can be a chump for like a smaller unit that hits for like 1 or 2, um, and then just keep on using it to supply our units in consecutive battles. Running 2 Gundam Leopard, well, mostly because I only have the 2 copies, but even if I had the third, I probably wouldn't run the third copy. It's a nice little support unit, but it's a bit expensive, needing 4 generations to come into play. 2/2/3 does have voucher, can be good sometimes to recover something from our, I believe it's from Junkyard, but I have to check the rules on that. But what I really like this card for is that for one, it damages all of your opponent's units battling against this card by one. So, you know, if your opponent sends up a lot of like weenies to attack you, this guy can actually take out quite a few units. It's almost like it has wide range weapon one, but just slightly different. So obviously, slightly different story there because it is not obviously a wide range weapon. So this is the other guy that works similar to Godwin, but it's certainly better. Egal, I love this card. That's just something about the art and the look of this unit. A bit expensive again, but it's a 403. And if we want to, during our attack step, we can give it assault +2, +0, -2. So we can make it a 6 attack trample, basically, which is, again, it's really big. So I've played a lot against this Egal, and it is always a nightmare to deal with it. So you know, I'm glad that I have my copies now to be able to bring it to you, Derek. Yep, I'm gonna get a taste of that Egal. Uh, and finally, I'm running two gold sumos, gold type sumos. It's an okay card. I'm not super thrilled about the some of the specs of this card, like a 251 being a 414 is a little bit low, but I don't really have currently any other better option for like big late game stuff. And anyway, this deck's gonna go through a revision sometime in the next sort of couple of months. But for now, I'm okay with the gold type. Special Shield 3 can be good against, I suppose it can be good against green. It can be sometimes good against white. Um, but basically, Desert, Quick, Assault, Psychomu, and wide range weapon effects on your opponent's unit cards are negated against this card. Um, as I said, obviously with Psychomu, technically the rules allow players to just have their Psychomu units in the station area and shoot from there. But how we play the game, you have to come up with the Psychomu to Earth or space to be able to use it. That actually makes Sumo Gold type a playable card. Now the quick here, actually the quick has been errata. The quick means preemptive attack. The preemptive strike, so like a first strike for you magic players. But it's a really versatile unit because it stops desert, it stops assault, it stops wide range weapons, so it's actually quite difficult to trick this particular card out. As for the pilots, because the pilots really do matter in this deck and generally in the game as well, I just went with this kind of rush tactic that obviously Godwin, Wad, and Egal do, with including Coriander. Prevent 3 quick, so again you can literally drop it during your opponent's turn if you really want to, just to give you a higher firepower. Imagine dropping a what was it? What was it? The Godwin can no, it wasn't the Godwin. Actually, can't remember which card it was. That well, anyway, we can drop him on a Wad, for example. It can come down, so the Wad is then piloted. It gets a 3 attack, and what's really cool about this card is this character card can be set on a unit card even whilst up in the battle area, which is important. And also, what it allows us to do is give any one of the units assault. Unfortunately, this card goes to the junkyard at the end of the turn, but again, it's just that sort of rush, you know, surprising our opponent because it is quick. Remember, you can play it during the battle phase, so you could have like a actually one of the best ones if you've got like Godwin up, and just like turn 2, you can put Coriander on it during the battle step. It goes up to a 6 with assault, gets D +2 because when a character gets set on it gets +2, so you're basically going in with a 6. That if that comes in unannounced, on it's difficult to stop. We got 2 Lauren Seek here, also quick unit 112, a little bit more on the defensive end. But she can also be, well, he can also be set on a unit card that's already up in the in the space or Earth area. So works really similarly to Coriander, and is just a nice little addition to again go with that more of a rush kind of build that we have in this deck. And then finally we got 2 copies of Harry Ord. It's just a solid 2/2/2, and when he defends, he also gets +2 health, so he's basically a 2/2/4 during our turn. He's particularly good, obviously, on the sumo. I really like this guy on the sumo because that makes the sumo a 6/3/6. But if you defend with the sumo, obviously it shuts down a lot of different effects against you, and it will be a 6/3/8. So we got this solid top end sort of defense, and we have quite a few cards with assault. Obviously, not a huge amount of life, but it allows us to get in for damage. As for operations, I run 1 naval battle on the moon, just so I can give one of my units water mobility. Water mobility can be really nasty if you play against, and if you can give one of your guys water mobility, then you can really catch out your opponent with that particular effect. So only got the one here because I only got the 1 copy, but I think it's a nice little addition to the deck. Got 2 Unearthed Works just to allow us to draw from our discard instead of our nation pile, so we are reserving our life in effect. Really, really good card, such a staple for brown. And these are the operations, except we do have 3 copies of the Gathering Party. If we want to take more of a let's try and build up kind of approach, then Gathering Party can come down, and we will just wait till our opponent pays the 5 when they are ready to swing, and hopefully we have built up our defenses well enough to be able to go and first of all defend, and then kind of switch the tact and actually start attacking with some of these units that really beef themselves up. For commands, again, staple card, Treasure Confiscation. I got only the 2 copies, unfortunately, but I'm still grateful that I have 2. I mean, it's just, it's difficult to get these draw 2 cards for the different colors. And you draw the 2 from your discard pile, making this, by the way, the best draw 2 cards in the game. I do like, obviously, the red one's really good, the white one's really good as well. Even the Political Privilege for blue is okay. But Treasure Confiscation is by far the best draw 2 in the 3 sets released. And finally, a bit of removal. This also combos really well with the Gathering Party, where we remove both our and our opponent's highest cost unit from play. And in many occasions, that doesn't have to be our sumo. It could also be, because it's got the same cost as the Egile, so that's 8 cost. That's also an 8 cost. And there was another one. If you haven't got either of these out, you also can sack the Armor because it's a 7 cost. In fact, if you got the Armor out and Gundam Leopard, then your Leopard will be safe compared to your Armor. You have to obviously work out what you're trying to do, how you're trying to do it, but this is the only removal Brown has access to. And I don't think it's bad, actually, because it can literally just, it puts 2 cards to the bottom of their respective owner's deck, your highest cost unit and your opponent's highest cost unit, and you've got to add up all the different numbers up here that will give you the highest cost. And if your opponent's got like some huge, nasty unit out, like a turn, like a 2/6/2, for example, or if we look at some of the Psycom units that we can come across. Admittedly, it's not great against green weenies, I'm going to give you that, but against most of the decks, this will be quite good to be able to remove like a new Gundam, for example, or one of those massive beasts that white has access to. So I think it's a pretty good card, all in all. And then finally, we just run 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 generations. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Oop, move the light out. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you liked this brown deck. And up until next time, I'll catch you all. Peace.